everyone. Welcome to the Miss Saye Show. Today I have a very special guest. It's an honor to have Eric Roberts with us. Welcome to the show, Eric. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Before we got on a camera, you were very busy signing autographs. That is very kind that you reply to all your fans, and you were mentioning that because there's no convention this year.
Well, because of no conventions, I get maybe 100 requests a week for pictures and autographs. But since there's no conventions, I get about 1,000 requests a week. So it takes me all weekend, but I answer everybody
Right.
because my wife says it could be her. So I must answer them all.
Your wife is very supportive, Eliza. I love her very much. Maybe later we can invite her in to join us. I would love
Now,
that.
so my wife is my hero. We'll talk about that if you want to.
She is. She is. She's my hero too. We're sharing a hero. Eric, I would like to start a little bit. Do you remember the last time when we saw each other?
Where was it? Was
It
it Las
was
Vegas?
Las Vegas. No, no, it wasn't. It was where you were born.
Biloxi?
It was in Biloxi.
I don't remember. I'm so sorry. I remember Vegas.
No, we saw each other in Biloxi. You were out there doing a movie, and I was in the middle of a production. You were there for a meeting, and I met you and Eliza at the restaurant. And that's when you told me the story that you were born in Biloxi.
Right.
It's very interesting. Well, it's good to see you again. I would
Thank
love,
you.
thank you. I would love to start off by, I know a little bit of your background. You started your acting career or being introduced to acting and theater through your parents, where they were holding acting classes from home. Is that true?
Actually, it actually started earlier than that. And it started in 1961. I played a mute clown in a Christmas play called Toys for Tots at Lenox Square Mall in Atlanta, in Decatur, Georgia. And that was my first play. And then about 3 years later, my parents opened up an acting school called the Actors and the Writers Workshop, funded by the Martin Luther King Foundation.
Oh,
We
lovely.
toured underprivileged areas all week and had theater in the park, Piedmont Park in Atlanta, Georgia, on the
Yes.
weekends. And that's how I grew up doing theater. I grew up doing 8 to 12 plays a year, every year of my life. And then I went to New York and got lucky, got a movie career.
That's incredible. Knowing that how early on you start and that your parents had an acting school, did that set unrealistic expectation for your career from the people around you, or how was that? Was it pressure?
No, I don't think so. I knew I always wanted to be an actor. I had my Academy Award speech ready at about 8 years old, and
Bravo.
and I was always going to be a movie star. That's what I always wanted to be, and and I wanted it to be Steve McQueen, and so or Robert Wagner. I was also in love with him from thinking he called the, the man from Cat, CAT. Anyway, I was in love with Robert Wagner. I was in love with Steve McQueen, and I was going to grow up to be them. And my parents were always very supportive, and uh, I got lucky, and I became a movie star. And then I got my baby sister into movies, and then she got Pretty Woman and became the biggest star in the world. And then my daughter got into show business as well. So we became this family of thespians suddenly, and so here we are out of sheer luck and desire.
I love how you're so humble and you say luck, but I'm sure that they say luck is when preparation meets opportunity. So if you weren't prepared, probably we wouldn't be this lucky. I'm the biggest fan of yours, and I've seen you and I followed you in many films. Uh, I have my own favorites, but I
Thank
would
you.
like to
What's your
ask
favorite?
you, which one is your favorite? Which one of your work is one of your, or
Well,
few of your
I've got
favorites?
about a half a dozen favorites because I like different genres. Like I like my first movie, King of the Gypsies. I like what I think is my best movie, but it's the best video drama ever shot. It's called Star 80. It's the best true story I think ever made. Then there's A Runaway Train that
Of course.
is based on a Kurosawa idea that's insane and hard to shoot and fun to make. And then there's things like Love Is a Gun that I made with my wife and Kelly Preston. We miss Kelly. And things like Purgatory that did with Sam Shepard. So I have lots of different kinds of favorites. Your Purgatory is a Western. So I have lots of different kinds of favorites. But I think those are my favorite four or five.
Those are my favorite too, especially Runaway Train, as you mentioned. And that's the one that you were nominated for Oscars. Am I correct?
Yeah, they nominated John Voight and myself for an Academy.
Beautiful. 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 What did you love about shooting that film?
Nothing. That was that was the hardest movie I've ever shot
How
physically.
come?
In that we got to Montana and we see it was February 1st. We get to Montana. We're going to shoot the whole thing in Montana. And we stayed there for a week and we watched it thaw. It just melted away. So we all shrugged our shoulders. Where do we go? And
Huh.
our producer says it takes place in Alaska. Let's go to Alaska. So we went to Anchorage, Alaska. We got a week behind, and then they got us 17 miles of track back and forth. It was just our track, and went back and forth all day, every day on this train. It was horrific. It was cold. It was miserable. John Voight was a gentleman and a great guy to work with. Oh my God, it's a great memory. I'll always have. He was so supportive and so wonderful with me, and it was the hardest thing I've ever done. And it was 40 below zero, and we're going 40 miles an hour in this train back and forth and 17 miles all day, every day. The only people it was harder on than John and I were the crew, and it was hard on the crew. And the crew was just wonderful, and everybody was wonderful. The only guy who complained was Andre Konchalovsky, the director, and he complained constantly. But besides that, even that was fun. It was all fun. It was just very very hard.
Was he complaining because the crew weren't fast enough, or it was cold, or what were they complaining about?
It was the conditions. They were hard. It was like going to war without risking your life. It was hard, and every day it was like you had to go to work. You didn't want to go to work. You had
Oh,
to go to work. And
oh
so,
my,
but John Voight, I got to give it to John. I want him to always hear this second or third person, as I say this over time. He was the most wonderfully supportive co-star I've ever had, and
wow.
we had a great time together. Just a great time.
That's so good to hear.
And I
That is
also
one.
want to point something else out.
Uh-huh.
John is a very tall man. He's like 6'1" or 6'2". And
Yes.
at the time, he only weighed 160 pounds. He was a beanpole. But he looks very big in the movie because the bodysuit. He has on a bodysuit that makes him look 75 pounds heavier than he is. He looks like he weighs 240, 250 in the movie. He doesn't. He weighs 160, 65 pounds.
Oh my
And
goodness.
he's a great actor. What are you going
He
to
is.
do?
He is. He is great. I do have a John Voight memory. I won my first Best Actress award at Beverly Hills Film Festival, and that night he was being honored, and it was my first award. So I was shy and I was just in the corner, and he's like, "Come over here. You're the queen of the night," and
Oh,
he pulled me, and he showed me so much support. So I do understand that, and I'm so glad that you got to hang out with him for so long. But I
he's a
wish.
great guy.
Yes, he is. Um, so I know you talked about your wife. I love Eliza. Is she around to join us by any chance?
My wife is always ready to join me if I've got anything to do with it. Come on, Eliza.
Yes. Yes,
Ah,
I got 2 for 1 today. That's awesome.
2 for 1.
Hello, beautiful Eliza.
Hello, Saye, beautiful Saye. It's so good to see you.
It's so good to see you. It's always good to see you two together, and you guys are inseparable, always together, and support each other immensely.
Well,
Um,
that's how you stay married. I discovered very early that I'm on the road a lot. And if I take her, we're okay.
Beautiful. I love you guys. I always see you together, and it's very heartwarming to see a marriage so strong, so beautiful. So now that I have you together, I'm about to get married soon. Do you guys have any?
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Where are you guys getting married?
We had planned to do it south of France, but due to COVID, we are waiting to see what universe may offer.
Right.
So
Right. Oh my God, that's so exciting, Say. Where did you
thank you
meet
so much.
him?
What do you do? What do you look like?
Or
Have you got a
her?
picture?
Here,
Or
this
her?
is-
Or
We
her?
met in Aspen, Colorado, where I was playing snow polo,
Oh, perfect.
and he was there skiing. So that's how we met.
What, snow polo. Oh my God.
Yes, you
That's
guys should come
hard.
out this year. Snow polo, it's very beautiful. These beautiful horses run in the snow and polo, and it's
Wow.
lovely.
Wow.
I'll send
Polo's
the
a hard game.
invitation.
Snow polo's got to be an impossibly hard game.
It is, but it's challenging. And I know you like challenge, so you may be inspired to get on
Yeah.
a horse.
He loves horses. He doesn't love the snow so much, but I mean, I'm sure that you don't even feel the cold.
No,
You
let's
don't.
all be honest with each other. My life has changed completely because I have not one, but two titanium hips. So
Oh,
everything is different. I can still look like I'm fine, but I'm not.
So
Eric, you look great, and you have such a great personality and good attitude about that. Thank you for sharing with us.
Of
Can
course.
still come out and enjoy. There are heaters, so you will be warm. But bringing it back to you guys, I really want to know if you want to give me 3 tips, 3 advice for having a good marriage, what would it be?
okay, well, one is friendship. Because usually in our friendships there's no fear, whereas in our loverships there can be a lot of fear. You're always afraid the person's going to change their mind, they're going to leave. There's various, you're afraid to present yourself in a foolish light or something, whereas with friends not so much. So I think really it's a cliche, but maintaining the friendship is very important, so that you're just tickled doing small things together. We love listening to audiobooks together, driving. We love watching, chick flicks together, little things that you do with friends. Okay, what do you think, Eric?
That and the other two things are honesty, and I mean brutal honesty. You have to be honest about it all. You have to be honest, with your other half. And then the third ingredient is sex. You have to have sex always, and it's part of the program. But those three things: the friendship, the hardcore honesty, and honesty can also be really fun if you have your person. Oh, I got to talk to you. Oh my God, you talk to your person, and then the sex. It's just there's all kinds of levels of all those things, and if you visit them all every day or as much as you can, you will have a long and happy marriage.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing so openly with me. So, what would you do if one of those pillars needs, it has weakened for some reason, it has had some trouble, have some turmoil, maybe some trust is broken? How would you repair that, in your opinion?
Well, that's all part of the honesty, but there's also roles that people assume just organically and automatically and naturally. Like she's the grown up, she's the mom. I'm like the snazzy uncle and the little boy, but but
So cute.
she's the mom, and she's the mom for everybody who knows her, by the way. But
Yeah.
but yeah,
I know.
yeah,
Yeah.
but she's also
How
this.
beautiful you know that role. How beautifully you know and define that role, because it's so true. And once you know it clear, then it's out in the open. Eliza is mom. Eliza take care of me. Every time anybody talks to Eliza, feel taken care of. When my team were putting this interview together, the feedback was, oh my gosh, she's so kind. I was like, that's just who she is. And she always has been like that. So knowing your role and personality, I guess that clarity, it's very helpful.
Yeah, it's very helpful because then you really realize how attached you are to that. It's a great subject because we all worry about those pillars of our relationships,
Right.
just because of time and and trusts are broken. I mean, Eric talks about honesty, but I think honesty can be used as a tool, building tool, and also as a weapon, just like dishonesty can. So I think that there has to be sensitivity blended in there. Some things are not going to be constructive to verbalize, and mostly I think you have to be honest with yourself about yourself and share as much of that as you can with the other person. Like, we lost both my parents in the last couple of years, and Eric will just pop up every once in a while going, God, I'm really missing your dad today, or I'm really missing your mom today, and I'm really scared about my own mortality. So we have each other. If he just brought that up randomly to some stranger, they'd be like, I don't want to think about that. I mean, they might be receptive, but it's just knowing that person's there for that. It doesn't mean you have to go bananas and expose stuff that you really want to keep to yourself, that you're working on yourself. You have to be honest about honesty also.
I
But I
love
think, say, I've always said to people, because people ask us after such a long time,
Yes.
if you read a book and you can't put it down, you love that book. You can't, your whole life disappears while you read that book. It's such a great experience. You're so excited. Now, if somebody said, okay, you love that book so much, I'm going to remove all the other books from your shelf or your Kindle or whatever, and that's your only book. Well, the next reading might be pleasant, and you find things that you didn't see the first time. But if you only had that book, it changes. It goes from hot and excited and drop everything for it to something you appreciate. So I think the same thing can happen with, especially the physicality in a relationship, but also the communication. It's not new. So what do you replace new with that's even better than new? And, some of that is the shared history, the shorthand, the sign language, the attachment, even the addiction, and then the sharing of the outside world together, that you want that person to be your reflection. We have a grandchild and another one on the way. There's
Okay.
no one more fun to share the visits with than each other. So there's new stuff. It doesn't just have to be the enmeshment of each other. But I think you have to acknowledge that, having only one book on the shelf is very tricky. But you know what? Somebody could give you 100 new books and none of them are as delicious as that first one. And then you go back. So if you're going to go back, you might as well just never leave in the first place. Do you agree?
To some degree.
To some degree.
I love your example, Eliza. I love the way you explained it. Thank you so much for sharing with me so openly. I learned just through that conversation.
I'm
Thank
glad you're about to get married, so it's important stuff for
I've been
you.
calling you a lot. Eric, you said to some degree.
Yeah.
Can you please tell us your point of view a little bit on that?
Well, the evolution of intimacy is everyone's own journey. You can't say, that your journey would be like this because I had this, but they had their own journey, their own journey. But an intimacy journey is so fulfilling if you stay honest with it. You stay honest with the questioning of it, with the need for it, with the confusion from it, with all the stuff that's involved in it. And if you have someone who's your someone, and you stay honest with her, am I driving you crazy?
I love it.
And,
I
and,
love it.
and you really stay honest with it, like like my wife. Oh, this is funny. Like my wife the other day, we're doing this mad love scene in a movie, and I'm this very abusive guy, and I'm
Your
on
screen
the
wife?
bed.
You
What?
mean your on-screen wife?
Yeah.
she's
Oh, okay.
Recently.
yeah, and I'm throwing the bed doing all this, and I say to her in between takes, I said, keep your breasts up. She has gorgeous breasts. Keep your breasts up, and so don't fall in your armpits. And she goes, I was being realistic. I said, I don't want realistic. I want good looking breasts. Pick your breasts up. So we had a little talk while we're working because I don't want other people seeing my wife's breast flop under her arms. I'm sorry. And so just as a man protecting what he loves and I take great pride in my wife's breasts, by the way. And I just want them to be well displayed, you know? And it's just one of those things where I realize that's part of my love for her is having her look good for me, for her, for everybody. And
Sure.
it was a very childlike moment, but it was real. And I like kind of laughed at myself, but it was also totally on. I mean, I love this woman like I love my life every day. And and you know, and you know,
No other actor would have given me that tip. If it was a different guy playing my husband in the scene,
So you were playing that, you were the actress.
yeah.
That's what I'm okay. So you guys had a scene together. How awesome is that?
It's a movie called Andronicus. It's a short film, an exceptional short film. It's in post-production now.
Mhm.
And we were cast, it was Sayé is an actress. You'll love this story. Eric was reading for it
Mhm.
and on a self-tape, and I was reading with him off camera.
Right.
The director got in touch with our agent. We have the same agent, and said, I want to cast Eric for sure. I already felt I did, but thank him for self-taping. Who was reading with him? Because I would love her to play the wife. And Peter said to him, what's his wife?
Awesome.
And he was like, oh, would she do it? And the next thing you know, we're doing this movie together.
So fun. Congratulations. I can't wait to see it.
Isn't that cool?
That is great. And I'm sure you guys had so much fun. And as you said, like the tip that you were giving to Eliza, well, Eliza's gorgeous. But it's just like if you have something in your teeth. If you care about the person, you say, hey, you have something in your teeth.
Exactly.
Exactamundo. Thank you. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that story with me. This interview turned out to be beyond what I expected. I am so lucky to have you guys. One more question I have for you. How do you guys working together as a husband and wife team measure success?
It's a great question.
Well, there's all kinds of levels of success. Like there's all kinds of levels of intimacy. There's all kinds of levels. I mean, there's a monetary success. There's the artistic success. There's a personal success. Like my favorite success personally in my work is when I'm at home and I'm working on a scene or a monologue or a moment, and it's hard for me. And I'm saying, now I could do this and I can make it work, but it's not satisfying. Why isn't it satisfying? And I have a breakthrough of, oh, that's what I was after. That's what I didn't know I felt. That's it. When I find that, it's like being born again. And I don't want to be too overwrought about it, but it's like getting a gift from heaven. It's like, oh my God, I didn't know I was going to get that. It's just it's like the early days of kissing your other. You know, when you kiss, oh, the kisses, they were so perfect. Well, it's the same thing. It's like, oh my God, that little gift I got because I stayed at my desk and I worked another 25 minutes it took to get, oh yeah, right, I now know. Those gifts are what the satisfaction of what I do is all about for me.
I hear you. It seems like you're still looking for growth and you're looking to evolve, which is fantastic. So I think that moment that you are figuring something out and it offers some growth and some understanding is just a delicious moment for you. And thank you for sharing that. What about you, Eliza? How do you measure success?
Well, you've been kind of part of our family for so long, and you're a fan of Keaton's, my son,
Very much.
recording artist, and a world-class musician. And I've had to learn a lot about the whole concept of success in this period of my life, because I work with both of them. And so I have one person who was being launched, which is Keaton, and one person who I'm just kind of keeping going. People comment a lot with Eric about, wow, you've really been there forever, and still reinventing and reinventing. And it's very hard to not get sucked into the external view of success, which is fame, money, millions of followers on social media, and to feel really either cheated and bitter or else hurt and inadequate and not enough if you don't have that. So to me, maintaining your personal success, which is staying kind and giving, as long as you're on track there, the world's going to do what it's going to do. And you may be better than everybody else who's out there with a huge shining star. And that is painful, and you have to kind of embrace that pain. But maybe you're a more decent person. Maybe you're a kinder person. Maybe that's even the reason that your star isn't shining as brightly. So I think that the only success to focus on is the success that we can be in charge of, which is kindness. It's very simple. The world needs it. And eventually that will give you peace. Whereas the other, notice all the unhappy people who have had their dreams come true. The other is not guaranteed to give you peace. And it's also not something that you can call upon at will. It's kind of not up to you. So I've had to redefine my sense of success. Doesn't mean that I don't love that other kind.
Right.
It doesn't mean that I don't feel that Eric deserves that and that Keaton deserves that and that you deserve that and whatever. But you have to sort of let go of a little bit of that and focus on what you can actually do.
I hear you. Well, from the moment, yes, bravo to that. From the moment I met you, Eliza, you have been practicing that. I've seen you being kind to me, to everyone around us. I have always seen you being graceful and handling every problematic situation with grace and kindness. And that is challenging because it's so easy for us to harden and respond with some resentment. So thank you for sharing that with us, because I'm inspired by you and I want to be more like you. So thank you for that. Are there any upcoming projects beside the wonderful short film that I look forward to, that you're looking forward to either shooting or for it to finish post-production?
Well, we just wrapped Stalked by My Doctor Part 5. These are for Lifetime, and they're movies. We're supposed to make one or two of them. They're so popular, we're up to number 5. And I play a very bad doctor. I mean, a very good doctor, but a very bad man.
So you're excited for that?
These are for, as Eric said, it was just going to be a one-off, maybe one sequel. They're for Lifetime, and they're kind of those formulaic Lifetime movies where you don't even mean to watch it, but then you can't turn it off. And what's beautiful is he's got fans all over the world for this character, and it's giving him a chance to do some real vintage Eric Roberts. I mean, it's a very emotional, crazy guy. So it's pretty satisfying to watch if you like good work. And a lot of really noted actors have watched these and gotten in touch with us saying how brave Eric is. And in this last one, I'm in it also. They cast me in it too.
Lovely.
I've recommended you for a couple of roles in these things, by the way. So
thank you.
So number 6, we'll get that going.
I would love that. It would be so fun to be in the same team with you guys.
It would be really fun
to watch you, Eric. I want to see what crazy role did you played in those. Are there some footage available for us to show from the number 1, 2, 3?
Yes. For all
1,
those.
2, 3, 4 are available on the Lifetime website, I think.
Look at the trailers, Sayé, on YouTube.
Okay.
Just punch in Stalked by My Doctor, Eric Roberts, and it'll show you clips from each of them. It is pretty fun. It really is pretty fun. So
well, I look forward to it. Thank you so much for sharing so much with us. Is there anything, any tip, any advice that you may have for people who are wanting to start their acting career?
Well, we've already talked about him, but it's off the subject. But Keaton Simons, he's my favorite singer-songwriter, and I just can't talk enough about him. You must go to his website. What's his website?
KeatonSimons.com.
But his albums blow me away. He's now had his 7th album come out.
Sayé is in the Beautiful Pain video. She's so good in that video.
Anyway, let's just talk about Keaton always. He's so fantastic. And he was on my tour with Brett Young. They had to cancel it with the COVID. And but they're
back to doing huge shows. They're just doing them on video, but pay-per-view.
Yeah.
It's been pretty great. But as tips for people starting out, these days, I feel like you really can do so much yourself. Everybody spends too much time trying to get an agent.
Right.
A lot of times agents are very disappointing. They don't really do the work. We have to do it ourselves.
I hear
As
you.
you well know. Create an Actors Access page, actively submit the heck out of yourself, make little movies, stick them up on YouTube, learn how to be the best marketing person in the world. Make sure your marketing skills match your acting skills, and just really go for it. I mean, just go for it. Do it yourself.
Everybody can be a studio now, and you can even own your own camera. You can do everything yourself now, everything. You don't have to go to Oriflex and rent. It's all available. You can do it all.
True. So get it going. And one thing that you said, have your marketing skills as good as your acting skills.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, very good. I'm so glad that I got a chance to talk with you guys. Thank you for making time for me. Please stay safe. I love you both.
Okay. Mwah. Bye, Sayé. We love you.
Bye-bye.